What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today I want to do a small discussion video talking about why this new Wind Duelist pack is like super interesting to me. There's really one big reason, and obviously there's other reasons. There could be other reasons once we find out what the actual archetypes are, and specifically for them, why they could be interesting with new support. But just thinking about it from now, the reason why Wind is so crazy is this card right here. This card can literally be utilized in any Wind deck whatsoever. Now, we've seen some lists try to make use of this card. It's been around for, 1 or 2 years now. We've seen some people try and make use of this card in other lists like Raid Raptors, Black Wings, and stuff. But it didn't really work out too well. It required multiple bricks, wasn't really worth it. But very recently, we've seen it come to fruition with something like Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade, otherwise known as Bird Up. Love the name. Thank you, MBT, for that. But yeah, I mean, like, that new build has made this card seem so seamless that if you can have a deck that like can so seamlessly play this and its two like win conditions, your deck can have so many ways to win games. You can just straight up win games for free because people can't beat Barrier Statue, and it's insane. So if you don't know what this card does, essentially on every end phase, not just yours, not just your opponent's, this card can special summon a Winged Beast from hand or deck with a level equal to or less than the number of open spell and trap zones on the field. So going first, if you only set one card, you've got at least 9 to work with. If you set 2, you still got 8. You set 3, you still got 7. So you're pretty fine, especially going first. And even against back row decks, as they start to use back row and like empty out their spell and trap zones, you'll have more options there. But that's usually never really that big of an issue. Also, it gives you targeting protection, I believe. Your opponent cannot target this card or a Winged Beast monster this card points to with card effects. And if this card would be destroyed by battle, you can destroy another Simorgh card you control instead. That won't come up that often, but you get it. A free monster every end phase and protection on that monster because you're summoning something that's going to have protection. It can't be used as link material. And the last thing I would say that's interesting is it requires 2 monsters, including a Winged Beast, which might make you think like, oh, well, that's not Wind, John. That's only Winged Beasts. Well, yes and no. We'll get to that in a second. So pretty much what you're mainly summoning off of this is one, Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. I mean, this is just a straight up win condition. If you can end on this plus battle protection and maybe one other negate, like so many decks just cannot even attempt to beat that. Obviously, trap decks can just set traps in the face of this board and try to work from there, and that's maybe not the worst scenario for them. But any deck that's really trying to do any kind of like combos, this card's going to shut them down unless they are specifically also Wind. So yeah, that card's insane. Also, you have access to a card like Mist Valley Apex Avian if Barrier Statue doesn't make sense, or after you've already stunned your opponent for a turn on their end phase, maybe you just drop an Apex Avian on the field, right? He's literally just an Omni Negate. He bounces himself to hand, and guess what? Simorgh summons from hand or deck. So you could just continually, every end phase, drop Apex back out of the hand for another Omni Negate. He's 2,700, and he puts in the work for sure. So those are the 2 cards you want to play. I don't really advise playing the Thunderbird and getting like the infinite loop shenanigans going on. I just don't think I just think you're playing like an extra brick for a really like high roly play, and that Omni Negate or that infinite negate loop like has like flaws in it where if your opponent can have like a quick play that they can activate in the same chain, like you're in trouble because this card can only activate once per chain to negate something. So yeah. Anyway, moving on. The reason why Simorgh is not really that big of an issue as far as the fact that it needs a Winged Beast is because we have Harpy Conductor. This card is, yes, a Harpy card, but it's actually just a generic link that just takes any 2 wins and it's Winged Beast. So if you're just playing a Wind deck, period, all you have to do is put 2 wins on the field, and that can at least get you to the Winged Beast portion of making Simorgh. And so that's really crazy that it becomes like that generic for just an entire attribute to make use of an insane card like that. Because you think an insane card like that would be restricted to only being good in certain decks, but it's actually one of the 6 only attributes in the game can pretty much make use of it as long as they have a decent engine that spams the board. Other than that, you're not really using her for effects, but she has a 1900 beater, so that's cool as well. And you also have cards like Hraesvelg, the Desperate Doom Eagle. It's another card, it's another win. He's just like a quick effect DD Crow, and then after banishing enough of your opponent's monsters, if they have none in grave, he actually gains 2400 attacks, so he can go up to 4800 and just straight up bop people in one attack, which is crazy. So yeah, there's just a handful of these cards. And the other thing that's really important to note here, and I'm not sure how seamlessly this will work, and this is a little more specific, but you also have the Tri-Brigade cards, which paired up with the Lyrilust cards have really seemed like almost like a perfect match. Now, I can't promise they'll be a perfect match for every deck you'll try and play, but keep in mind all of these cards, all these links, all 3 of them are winged beasts, which means the Tri-Brigades can just cheat them out for free, essentially by banishing cards from your grave that you've already used, to then summon these cards and then get a Simorgh Barrier Statue lock or an Apex Avian free negate that's going to recur itself every turn, plus the protection. It's really, really strong, and I know that if we're talking about a wind attribute deck, the only real scenario where that will really work out that well with the Tri-Brigades is like Wing Beast specifically, but we've got stuff like Harpies, we've got stuff like Gusto, we've got stuff like Simorghs themselves. We don't know what kind of decks are going to end up in this Duelist pack. Obviously you can theorize, but we never know. So yeah, I think it's important to keep the Tri-Brigades in the back of your mind. I mean, who knows? Lyrilusk has like literally like 6 cards in its entire archetype. We could easily just get 5 new Lyrilusk cards, and then the deck becomes even more crazy. So I definitely have my eye on it. I kind of just wanted to make a video because I don't feel like people are like looking at this enough, and if they did, they'd be like, oh shit, like literally every win deck, essentially, as long as they get enough support cards or the kind of support that allows their deck to just like spam the board. I mean, think about something like Speedroid. They still have the Terratop, they have Taka Tomborg that just summons itself for free. They are able to spam the board already. And because Konami's already shown them so much love over the years, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in this Duelist pack as well. And so you give them even more extenders, even more ability to put bodies on the board. Simorgh just seems like so easy of a card that like while they're linking up, I'll just go into Simorgh. That's the end board. We'll throw Simorgh plus like a Crystal Wing and something else. And then you're just like, how do you win? And like it's just going to be a crazy board that continues to gain you resources. And so I just wanted to make a video really just talking about that. Obviously, like I said at the beginning of the video, any specific deck that ends up getting chosen here, once we know what they are, they'll be more specific on what we'll look at and be like, oh shoot, like wow, this deck already has this and this and this, and that'll be interesting to see where they build off of that and all that stuff. But just generically speaking, any win deck that ends up in here has a chance to make insane use of a card like the Simorgh Bird of Sovereignty. And if it does, man, look out. I mean, the new meta could just be like Simorgh, you know, I don't know, just Simorgh shenanigans. Although I do think there is an element of like the biggest like bonus of this card is just dropping him. But if the whole meta is aware of it and the whole meta is other win decks, this card becomes obsolete, right? So we'll see how that goes. But Apex Avian will always be good off of it. But yeah, so that's going to do it for me here today, guys. I just want to do a small discussion. I was just thinking about topics to try and talk about because I like doing discussions every once in a while on the channel. But let me know your thoughts down below. If there's any other just insane wind cards that you would like to throw out there because they're out there. I know there are some. There are good extenders and stuff. But if there's anything specifically in your head that you're like, oh, John, don't forget about this. If almost all wind decks can take advantage of these, or most of them, keep an eye on this because this could be another card that could just allow them to generically pump themselves up and be even better with their new support. So I'm going to end it off there, though. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more discussion videos from me in the future. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.